Welcome back to London Beautiful Life, and we're at the TRIC Awards 2026 at the Grosvenor House in Park Lane.
When it comes to heated debates on the show, because they do get very heated, how do you disarm these heated debates?
Well,
I know some of you guys can be in wind-ups as well, but...
I'm not sure I disarm much, to be honest with you. I quite enjoy it. But no, I mean, I think, look, you've just got to make sure that people don't go too far. And the worst thing that can possibly happen of TV, but especially on radio, is when people are just relentlessly talking over each other. So sometimes I find the best policy there is to just literally say it, like, this is terrible radio, stop. And then there's been the very, very, very odd time where someone refuses to stop, and you've got to, like, say to them, look, you know, you're not going to come back on if you keep ruining TV and keep ruining radio. But no, look, I think the thing for us is that we quite like to replicate the kind of debate and discussions that people have on the sofa in their own homes, between family members that might have different views, or round the dinner table at Christmas, or down the pub. If people are watching it on TV and they're thinking, we have these same conversations in our own home, that's what we try to create. That's what we want to replicate, really. And as well, you know, it is a good thing, because a lot of the time people go, oh, you know, it's only got one-sided. Well, it's not really, is it? Because we relentlessly, every single show has these kind of, you know, whether it's heated debates or passionate debates or whatever, and that is a really, really big part of it, and we love it, and it is all about free speech at the end of the day, and not censoring people and being too kind of pearl clutching about everything. Just have those real conversations that real people have.
Do you reckon that's why the success of GB News has grown? Because obviously when it first started, people were on the edge, and now it's the #1 news channel in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, we celebrated our 5th anniversary the other week, which is incredible considering that people said, oh, it won't last 6 months and all of that. And it was tough getting it off the ground. I mean, it is a massive, massive job to run what is, you know, largely speaking, a 24-hour news channel 7 days a week. It's a huge ask. We were a startup, but to see how far we've come, and the viewing figures and the listening figures as well, and the figures that we get online, etc., it is amazing. I mean, I think the thing for me that is so good about it is how loyal our audience are. And that I think we have a relationship with our audience that other news channels don't quite have. Whether it's that they feel like there's like normal people presenting the news and they feel like they can relate to you. But, you know, I was saying before, like, you get kind of shouted at from lads off scaffolding, like, all right, how's it going? You know, that's a nice thing. Or then you get shouted at by, like, posh people in E-Type Jaguars in Chelsea. And you think, well, there's range there, isn't there, between the people that are watching here. It doesn't matter where you go in the country, you know, whether you're up north or in Wales or Northern Ireland or Scotland. So I think for us, we don't take a single viewer or listener for granted. And from my perspective, especially given that my show's later on in the evenings, like 9 p.m. until midnight, that is a real choice that people are making to tune in at that time when, you know, look, you could be down the pub, you could be watching Netflix, you could be putting the kids to bed or whatever. So I feel very, very passionately about, if people are choosing to take the time out of their day to watch whatever I'm serving up at that time, then I really owe it to them to try and give it my best shot. Which is why at some point today I'm going to have to take myself out of this ceremony, hide myself in a toilet and try and write my monologues for tonight in a cubicle somewhere to make sure that I don't just go on air unprepared, I think. Yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask that as well. Do you, when it comes to your show, do you get much of a say, or do the producers kind of take control at times?
Well, I'm really lucky with the production team that I've got, and I'm not just saying that, you know, shout out to Lucy, who will probably see this, I imagine, bless her, my amazing producer there. But we've been working together for a little while now, so you kind of have this weird relationship where you're in each other's heads, so you know this will work, this won't work. So we're very much on the same page. I'm also incredibly lucky with the bosses at GB News and the lawyers as well, which is not something I very often say when you're in the heat of a discussion about what you can and can't say. But genuinely, you know, they take a bit of a backseat. When I say, look, I want to do this, this is what I think is going to work, this is the kind of angles I want to take, we are personality-led. And I think I don't want to speak for the bosses at all at GB News, but I think one of the reasons they've made the decisions to put the presenters on that they've had is, you know, they go for personality, they go for people that they think they can trust, they go for people who they think have got the finger on the pulse of the nation, etc. So they let you a lot of the time, you know, and it's great. So I have a lot to say, you know, and I wouldn't have it any other way, really. And I think as well, given the kind of topics that we cover, which, you know, people might think, oh, they're the controversial topics of the day. I don't know if controversial is the right word. I think they're the most important topics a lot of the time. You don't want to be reading out something that someone else has written for you. You don't want to be saying something that someone else... Because if I say something and it gets some pushback, or people think it's controversial, I can look at myself in the mirror and go, well, I wrote that and I think that, so I can back it. Whereas if you read something out where you're like, oh, I didn't even mean that, and then you get in trouble for it or something. You're like, oh, what's the point of that? So, no, it's great that they give us that freedom and level of control, yeah.
When it comes to a favourite storyline from Hollyoaks, what is your favourite storyline?
My favourite, you go first. My favourite, I don't know if it's a storyline, but it was a high heel in the Hollyoaks sign, a red high heel.
From Claire Devine.
Claire Devine's red high heel. That was so fun.
My favourite episode that we did, we all went abroad, and it was McQueen's Hit Magaluf, and it was fantastic.
For one of the weddings.
It was McQueen. It was Mercedes Hendu. We had Nana there, and it was just amazing. In the sun, we had a riot. It was amazing. Yeah.
When it comes to also working on a soap, it can be very, I guess, like a machine. But when you do other projects, what's the difference between working on a soap that is very pumped out quite fast compared to a film you might be working on?
Yeah, well, for me, I would say I did a period drama, The Gallows Pole, and doing that, you're in costume, just as you are with Hollyoaks, but you're wearing a corset. So it's just a bit more uncomfortable, you know, when you've got to wait around. So I think there's a bit more waiting around when it's a drama. And when it's a soap, you can't catch your breath. You're just constantly on, aren't you?
There's a lot of that improvised ad-lib, whereas we have like the scripts tell us what to do, but you were allowed to like free flow with that, weren't you?
Yeah. It was completely improvised, yeah.
That's amazing.
On a soap as well, it's so long, the show is so long and it's continuous. Do you ever get a say in your character? For example, like if you wanted to change something about your character, will producers let you do that, or is it very like whatever the producers say?
If your contract's up.
Depends who you are. No, it depends.
If your contract's up, you've got no choices.
I think the writers are led by you. So if you come in and you like give them something different, or you give them, I don't know, you give your character a twitch or an edge, or you know, you're really good at crying, then they make you cry your whole life. But I think they are led by you. They're led by your performance. I think the people that have got longevity and are really successful keep giving the writers, like every time they write it, they go for it.
It's dependable. You know what you're going to get with some characters and some actors, so it's dependable. So then you can write, you know what you're going to write, and you can hear how they're going to say it, so they know what's coming,
See, the shows like Hollyoaks and other soaps as well do give first-time actors their first chance. What advice would you give to a first-time actor, and what are the do's and don'ts on set?
Oh, on set? Be nice to everyone, every single person. Be kind, be courteous, and talk to everyone. Everybody is as equally important, especially on a soap.
Whoever you meet on the way up, you'll meet, what's the saying?
On the way down.
Be nice to everyone, because someone who starts off as a runner will one day be your exec producer, deciding 100%. If you get the part or not.
Yeah.
On time,
that's not
why.
It's because we are like a family. It's an age-old saying, but we are.
But also advice these days, everyone's got an iPhone, you can do self-tapes, you can do amazing headshots yourself, you don't need to spend thousands of pounds or hundreds of pounds getting down to London. Everything these days is a bit more accessible, so that's brilliant. And YouTube, like, practice it all the information's out there.
Also, do you remember that time when GB News did win and they got loads of boos, and why is that?
Well, Ellie was there.
Yeah, it wasn't very nice. I think it's just because we were new. I think they didn't like the idea that GB News had come onto the block and was shaking things up. We definitely didn't feel welcome that first year. And I think each year, as GB News has grown and grown and our audience has got bigger and bigger, they've come to accept us. I hope we don't get any boos today, and I hope that the rest of the media looks at us and says, well done, you're doing great work.
Well, you guys are the number one news channel in the country. How does that feel, and how did that change from, like, I guess, having BBC for like millions of years and ITV, and now GB News is dominating?
Well, look, I think it's a testament to the incredible audience we have. They are so loyal and they're so interactive with us. You know, as Ellie was saying, we have Your Say, which is a way to interact with the audience in real time as we're watching the show, and they love that. Our audience love that. But also the testament to the variety of stories we cover. We cover stories that aren't told very often in Britain, and we tell it very truthfully and honestly. And I think that's built a really loyal and dedicated base of people that come back every day and make us the number one. And we can't be more thankful for their support.
I think there's a lot to say as well for GB News being a startup, and I think if you're a startup, you'll know all about this. You are hungry. You know, it's a team that is prepared to put in the hours, put in the work, prove people wrong. And I think when you get all of those people together in one newsroom, you create something special.
You do.
We hope we do anyway.
Yeah.
And you guys have had great guests over the years as well. Who have you enjoyed meeting and interviewing?
Oh my goodness! I mean, we've had so many people on. I mean, you've been on Breakfast for a really long time, so I guess you'll have a better idea of it. But actually, it's the real people for me. It's the mothers and the fathers of people who might have lost children, who have come to. We had a parent on recently whose daughter had passed away due to social media abuse, and even someone who died as a result of allergy abuse. And they come on and they're so powerful, and they tell such amazing stories, and they're trying to change the way things are done in Britain. And I think, again, that's really what GB News is all about.
Yeah, it feels like a massive privilege when people trust us with their stories. And then we've had some really good guest presenters as well over the years, haven't we? I got to work with Peter Andre for years, which well, not for years actually, it was about 4 months, but it was the best time. We had lots of fun. So we get the privilege of the really tough, really hard stories that are really important to share, and then we get the fun stuff as well. That's the joy of breakfast, isn't it? You get the light and the shade. That's right.
And also, when it comes to heated debates, how do you guys, I know you're a bit of a wind-up, but how do you guys calm down the heated debates? They do get very heated.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you have to let people debate the way they want to, right? But one of the great things that I found with these debates is often you can end it on a note of coming together and finding a bit of common ground, which is actually what it's all about. The reason we have such heated debates is because some of them haven't been discussed for so long and people have pent up all of this frustration. But actually you can find most people have a middle ground, and that's the beauty of it all.
I think one thing that strikes you when you're in the green room is how well everyone gets along. So even if you have the fiery debate on air, everybody will just be in fits of laughter in the breaks, won't they? Right. So I think you can always find humour in everything. And I think trying to find humour and trying to find light, things that we have in common is better than anything that could possibly divide us.
So obviously GB News have won in the past, and it's the public vote as well. But also there's been uproar about GB News winning in the past. Why do you reckon that's been?
Well, I can remember the first time that we came here. And I remember when we won, people were booing, woo, boos. It was all very pantomime until they realised that now we're the number one news channel. So, blah.
How do you reckon that has turned around since GB News first came out and now it's so popular? Why do you reckon GB News is so popular these days?
I think it's really popular because we talk to the people. So we're not talking down, and we're talking about what they want to know about. They want to know about illegal immigration. Why are the BBC and those other channels not talking about it? So we talk about what people are concerned about, and we're prepared to be honest. We don't have to toe the line or not give our own opinion. We're allowed to do that. We're not newsreaders. I'm not a newsreader. I'm a broadcaster, presenter, journalist. So I'm allowed to give my opinion, which I do. Also,
we're having your own show as well. Do you get much of a say in what you want to speak about, or do the producers kind of come in and get involved as well?
Well, I do have producers, but it's, a lot of the content is decided by me. But obviously with the producers, but we agree. So the producers will come up with stuff and, I'll go, yeah, great, I'll come up with stuff. So it's a joint effort, but ultimately I do get to have kind of the final say, unless of course it's breaking news, and everyone loves breaking news, so I do it untold.
I was actually going to say, because I remember you from CITV days. I know a lot of people now know you from Celebs Go Dating, but the CITV days, what do you miss the whole kids presenting what days?
I think kids telly, I was doing kids telly for well over 10 years with just Angellica on the carpet. I mean, her and I, we cut our teeth at the same time, in our late teens. Kids telly, I think they're, in the 90s, when we were in the 90s and noughties, was such a moment, and I'm so lucky to have had the best training ground to learn my craft in TV and broadcasting. Lots of what we did was live. We really did learn on the job. There were so many more opportunities to give it a try, to be mentored, and I got it wrong on many times. But yeah, I was very lucky to have, I sort of leapfrogged to all the different kids TV shows, from ITV to Channel 5 to Disney to Nickelodeon, and yeah, it was a moment. But then I guess I can't be a kids presenter the rest of my life, so I went and became a little bit more grown up and went into therapy on the telly. Who would have figured that?
Well, it's crazy also how TV has changed, because I guess not like back then, because it wasn't that long ago, but back in those days when I was watching TV and you were working on these shows, there were only like 5 channels, so it was in the millions and millions, and now it's completely changed. But how do you reckon people try and attract people to watch their shows these days?
I think trends are always changing, and I think what's really interesting is a lot of the trends do seem to be quite cyclical. Things that we saw were really popular, decades ago, then suddenly come back round again. I think a lot of the time we're not reinventing the wheel, we're just repackaging it, but sometimes we are then evolving with the times and creating new things. I mean, I love working in reality where I work now, reality with a twist. I love working with people, I love the authenticity around TV, and I think that's definitely what we've seen evolve over the years, is more of a leaning into that type of genre, but there's space for all of it, and I love it all.
And also, I know people know you from Celebs Go Dating as well, but you also did another dating show as a therapist type, one Single AF on MTV. Do you remember that?
Yes! Oh my gosh! Do you know what? Single AF was
mad.
Great. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a moment. I will always remember being sent to France where it was filmed, I'm having a moment. It was Casey and Marnie.
Jedward.
Yeah. Yes.
Jedward were getting quite naughty under the covers at times.
Yeah, I mean,
not together.
That was. That would be a story. It was a crazy time. Yeah, crazy show. But that's what I love about telly, is that it's such a space to try, and some shows are hugely successful. They take off, and we see them come back as recurrent formats, which is the trend now. There's a lot more at stake now. It's a lot more of a competitive market, so a format really does have to land to be a returnable series a lot of the times. But you know what, I love the fact that so many shows just given the chance to try, and I don't think any show fails if it doesn't get a recommission. It's just a moment in time.
Who would be your dream lineup for Celebs Go Dating?
Oh gosh. I think, without sort of deflecting the question, I think the lineup that we've just had, actually, our most successful series of Celebs Go Dating, we've just had, actually.
Is it quite challenging?
It's not challenging in a sense that the work is hard. It's wanting to get the most out of the celebrities. The series we've just done had the biggest mixture of celebrities, from Professor Green to James Haskell to Colleen Nolan. We have loads of different characters with loads of different challenges around their dating world, and it was lovely to be able to lean into a lot more hard-hitting topics that are very reflective of what's going on in the real world outside of the show. And I'm very proud of the show that, in a world that is, and an industry that is very competitive now, Celebs Go Dating does seem to get bigger and better and attracting, even bigger and better celebrities. So another series, I mean, fingers crossed, and anyone that wants to come on, we would welcome them.